Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we have got the all-new Ducati Scrambler 1100. I'm on the special model. They've got like a Cafe Racer, which is the one that's ahead of me. And they've got an Icon, which I guess is more of a 70s style, maybe. So first things first, seating position. It's a Scrambler, so you're sitting totally upright, very comfortable. Feet are actually kind of ahead of me a little bit. It's not feet forward, but definitely a lot more forward than a typical sports bike. This is an 1100cc twin-cylinder, air-cooled. This is the older style Ducati twin engine with 2 valves per cylinder instead of 4 valves per cylinder. So this bike has 4 valves in total. Peak horsepower is somewhere in the 80s, I believe. Oh, these people are just going to keep going. Yeah. Mirrors are actually really good. Typical Ducati pickup. So it looks like my RPM gauge is this, if you guys can see that. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. So it goes from about the 2 o'clock around down to like almost to the 9 o'clock on the gauge. Big LCD speed, and it does have a gear indicator, so that's kind of nice. The bars are very wide and high on this model. Brakes are good. Neutral pops in very easily. Transmission's good overall. Up and down is smooth and easy. This would be a perfect city bike, very comfortable, or if you live near mountains, Texas hill country, stuff like that. This would be very fun in the tight, twisty sections. The seat is very comfortable, very soft, but not squishy. Still firm, but not uncomfortable. It's got a little pickup. Not a ton. But for what this bike is going for, an easy to ride, fun kind of city bike, I'd say this is a big beginner's bike, like an 1100 for a younger rider, or anybody who lives in the city and wants to ride around the city a lot. This could be a perfect bike for them. Suspension is comfortable. It's not too soft or soggy, but it's not so firm where bumps hurt. It absorbs the bumps pretty well. The exhaust is nice and poppy. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's got some get up. It's got some get up and go once you get on it. Totally fun. Not from a performance motorcycle standpoint or anything. You know, if you're a veteran rider or an avid rider, you're not going to get scared by this thing at all. If you're used to sport bikes, you might get a little bit surprised by the how the handlebars feel when you're on the gas in a turn. The front feels a little bit light, a little bit slightly loose, but nothing to be scared about. Nothing that scared me. It's just a little less planted in the front end when you're on the gas. But again, it's a pretty high seating position, tall bars. Completely different riding style than a Panigale, or even it's even different than a Monster. That's for sure. Transmission's real nice, and the handling's really easy. Drops into turns easily. Yeah, I feel like I could take this turn at least twice as fast. This is a lead ride, so I have to follow the guy in front of me, so I can't get too wild. I gotta say, the stock exhaust sounds pretty good. Yeah, it feels like you could lean into the turns pretty well. It's definitely a little slower handling when it comes to this sort of thing right here. I have to push harder. It drops into turns just fine, but of course nothing like a Panigale does, or my Super Sport. So if the new Panigale V4 is a 10 on the handling scale, and my Super Sport is say a 7 on the handling scale, 7, 8. I'd put this at a 5, probably. as acceleration and power, again, if the Panigale V4 is going to be our benchmark as a 10, then my Super Sport would be a 6, and this would be probably a 3 or a 4. Throttle's pretty nice and smooth. Oh, it's got that lovely Ducati burbling and popping on decel. I don't know if you guys can hear that. That Cafe Racer one looks pretty cool. Obviously he's leaning forward a lot more. So that position looks a lot more like my Super Sport, except with maybe slightly wider handlebars. They might be the same, I don't know. I'd have to measure it. But his position right there looks more like the Ducati Super Sport. It's a good looking bike. It's cool. This is the special, and the handlebars are the more standard upright wide bars. So low speed handling is real nice. Like making a U-turn on this is probably a lot easier than on my bike. Yeah, at low speeds, this sort of maneuvering is very easy. The wide bars gives you a lot of leverage. And overall, the bike feels pretty light. It definitely doesn't feel like a heavy 1100 standard would feel, typically. It feels pretty light and fairly nimble. The only thing about the handling I didn't like, and again, I'm coming from more sporty bikes. I have a Ducati Super Sport. I recently test rode the new Panigale V4. So compared to those kinds of bikes, the front end feels loose when you're accelerating in a turn. Not like you're going to lose control, but you definitely notice that it feels looser than any of those bikes do. I wouldn't use this as a track bike, let's put it that way. But for riding around town, for riding around the city, this would be a pretty fun bike. As long as you're not requiring crazy power. I don't know what the top speed of this bike is. I would, if I had to guess, I would guess 120, 110. So from 3,500 RPM, the second gear, it's got some pickup. That's got some real nice pickup. I mean, for not being a super sport kind of bike, that's all that 1100 Ducati torque, low-end torque. This thing is definitely designed for torque on the bottom end. Again, 3,500 RPM, full throttle in second gear. It's nice. Yeah, that picks up quick. I bet for a few feet, pulling out of 3,500 RPM, this bike would take a Panigale V4. But just for 50 feet maybe. And maybe you can see my position in the reflections. The clutch is very easy. It is a hydraulic clutch, so that's pretty fancy. These days, very few bikes have hydraulic clutches. So we're done with the Scrambler 1100 demo ride event. It's a nice bike. Lots of very low end torque. Be fun for the city. If I lived downtown Chicago and if I didn't leave very often, I would definitely consider a bike like that. For me personally, it's not the kind of bike I would want. Not enough performance and zero wind protection, but it's a nice bike. Handles well, great brakes, very nice transmission. If you live in the city, I would definitely consider it. At least go for a test ride. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.